Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, I will tell you in almost every single way, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, it was a great phone when it first came out. It probably is not a phone I would recommend anyone to buy anymore. So kind of keep that in mind. There are definitely way better devices out there to go and buy than this one. But I think the Galaxy S25 Plus is indeed one of the best phones you can buy. I would highly go ahead and recommend buying an a phone like that. And if you are in the market, I think that one is kind of the better option. We'll go and take a look at both these phones. If you want to pick them up at any point throughout this whole entire video, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus that came out back in 2020 on the front side is giving you a 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED display. This phone is giving you a 1440p display, 1200 nits of brightness, which looks and feels very, very good. And it's 120 Hz too. This, along with the Galaxy S20 and the S20 Ultra, were the first Samsung phones to bring a 120 Hz display, and that was in and of itself a very nice thing to basically have here. So if you were able to go through and pick up a phone, this is a pretty solid option, and I do think if you're in the market, this is a device that looks pretty good, but it probably, there's some areas of this phone that may not look that great, but this phone also has a 1440p panel, which is pretty crazy. The Galaxy S25 Plus, though, on the other hand, is giving you a massive, it's the same size, 6.7-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So it's an LTPO display this time, which is great. Still giving you 120 Hz display, but this time it's giving you 2600 nits of brightness. That is massive. To max out at that much brightness, it's over twice as bright as the Galaxy S20 Plus panel. So if you're going to go through, once again, if you're in the market and you're essentially going to pick up a phone, something like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus is going to be giving you a far better display than the Galaxy S20 Plus. So that is in and of itself another massive advantage for that type of device. And once again, if I'm in the market and picking up a phone, it is actually a really nice type of display and just a really nice looking phone overall. So that right there, I think, is another really big advantage for that type of device when it comes down to it as well. Now, on top of that, if you're looking at both these devices, another very big thing to keep in mind is that the bottom of both, they both have USB Type-C ports. But the Galaxy S20 Plus does actually have kind of a trick up its sleeves, where that particular phone is essentially going through and it's actually giving you a microSD card slot inside of that device, which that in and of itself is pretty crazy to have. Imagine being able to go through, pick up a phone, and get that type of capability. It's pretty insane, especially for a phone from 2025. The Galaxy S25 Plus doesn't have it. On the backside, you're essentially getting a frosted glass back on the Galaxy S25 Plus, where the Galaxy S20 Plus is giving you a standard glass back. So they're both giving you wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Both are basically giving you triple camera setups on the backside, whereas the Galaxy S25 Plus is giving you like that extra lens. The depth camera didn't really do anything. So both are doing pretty good when it comes down to that side. And I would probably tell you, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, definitely a device like a Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus on the exterior is probably going to look overall better than something like the Samsung Galaxy S20, Plus in general. When it comes down to the price tag though, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus is going to be costing you about $1,000 as of this point, whereas on something like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus is going to be costing you maybe around $220 as of this point. So it's going to be significantly cheaper inside of that device than for something like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus. So that you might look at that and you might think that might be an advantage there, so kind of keep that in mind. But for me, it wouldn't really be an advantage because you are getting a better phone with the S25 Plus, so it makes sense to cost more money. Now, on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here too, is that with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, this camera on the backside, it's a very nice looking camera. With the S20 Plus, you're getting a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, a 64 megapixel telephoto lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, then a 0.3 megapixel depth camera. Whereas on the Galaxy S25 Plus, you're essentially going to be getting a 50 megapixel wide angle lens, 10 megapixel telephoto lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So this type of camera for the most part does give you a pretty good experience when it comes down to it. And I do think, once again, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone like this does actually make a lot of sense to go ahead and buy. The S25 Plus's camera is much, much better, and it's a really good upgrade coming from the Galaxy S20 Plus. The S20 Plus though is still giving you 8K capability, it's still giving you a really good looking phone for the most part, but I will say the camera quality nowadays is significantly better with the improvements of chipsets, with the improvements of everything across the board, that is definitely a way better type of camera overall than something like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus. So in terms of that, I will definitely tell you the Galaxy S25 Plus really does end up kind of winning here for the most part than something like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus as far as I can tell. Now, on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here too is that with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, this phone has a big, massive feature over the S20 Plus, and that is that it's still supported with software. The Galaxy S20 Plus has been outdated with software for like 2 years now. So that is kind of the problem that you're going to be running into when you're buying that phone. You're going to be buying a phone that's already outdated with software, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to buy a device like that. You are much better off purchasing a device that is still supported with software. That's why the Galaxy S25 Plus does give you an overall way better experience here. So if you're trying to go through and if you're trying to pick up a phone that's going to be giving you a better experience, it definitely is without a doubt going to be something like a Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, because that one is still supported with software, and that's going to be the overall better one here in almost every single way. So from that side as well, it definitely makes sense to go with the S25 Plus, especially when it comes down to that battery standpoint as well. They're both giving you pretty big size batteries, 4500 mAh battery on the Galaxy S20 Plus, 4900 mAh battery on the S25 Plus. So I will tell you in this particular situation as well, with something like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, this is going to be one of those phones that's definitely going to probably end up being the better one, from a battery life standpoint as well. But especially, this is the biggest thing, when it does kind of come down to that performance side, the Galaxy S20 Plus was giving you that, Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset inside with 8 gigs of RAM, where the Galaxy S25 Plus is essentially going to be going through and giving you that Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset inside with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So definitely, without a doubt, when it comes down to that performance side, the Galaxy S25 Plus is going to be giving you a very good performing chipset and a very good experience overall than for something like a Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus. The S20 Plus, I think, is still like an interesting phone. I think it is still giving you a lot of capability for the most part, but I would probably tell you with something like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus or the S25 Plus, that one is going to be a very fast phone. It really is going to be one of the best phones you can basically buy. And I do think that is kind of the one I'd recommend majority of people to buy is the S25 Plus, because that phone is so much faster. But the S20 Plus is still like not a terrible performing device either when it comes down to it. So overall, to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I will definitely tell you is that the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, I think, is a way better phone than the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus. I think everyone kind of knows that. I think if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, that's the one that makes kind of the most amount of sense from what I can tell. But I would probably also say that with something like the Galaxy S25 Plus, this is kind of one of those phones that is, it's kind of unfair because it is more expensive. It's a way newer phone, but there's a lot of phones in between. Like a Galaxy S23 Plus sits right in between these two. And I think an S23 Plus is also one of those phones that I look at and I would highly recommend people to buy too, because that really is such a good phone with such a crazy amount of capability. It only costs slightly more than the Galaxy S20 Plus, and it is significantly cheaper than the S25 Plus. So you do have some options there, but those are kind of the phones that I recommend buying in this particular situation. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.